Yeah, they're gonna outcap. I can't do anything about
Yeah,
this
it's
one.
just bug out. Ooh, that's 6 cents. That's 6 cents right there.
Ooh, look,
Oh,
your
now our
team
whole
is
team
showing up for
jumps.
Gamma.
Yeah.
They're trying to help.
We're doing good on stations, not so great with gas, unfortunately. How you
So no,
doing there with the Overseer? You in some
I
trouble?
think this ghost is seriously regretting his choice of action. Seriously. Cheers, man.
Haha.
Much appreciated.
Sorry, I borrowed your kill there.
So good. No worries at all. Hi the devil. I'm back again with another video on my thoughts and opinions. Me with opinions, who'd have figured. So, kicking it off with a new ship idea. I've been toying around with an idea of a fleet of ships working together. Smaller than standard capital ships, but much bigger than fighters. Think something akin to the style of the Braille class ships from Star Trek, if you know what I'm on about. These ships would be lightweight maneuverable harasser cap ships. You could change formation to change their targeting profile, pull loop-de-loops around your opponents, and they would innately be harder to track with missiles. After discussing this with someone in the community, they gave me an even better idea. Picture the above, but there would be one central ship surrounded by a number of smaller drone ships. Exactly the same concept, but with a slightly smoother logic to them. They could also be briefly dispatched to swarm a ship, whereby they'd buzz around the target ship poking them to death, practically impossible to target unless you're railing them with flak. The next thing I wanted to talk about was an idea for an ability. Kurt and Dars touched on something similar briefly in last week's Talking Fractured. Again, it's something I've been bouncing around my head for a while. It's a jump gate destabilizer. Basically, it's a beacon similar to the cat mod. You drop it so that its bubble overlays with the station's bubble, and what it does is temporarily shut down the jump path to the bubble, allowing time to cap a station. It would only be for a few seconds, as it would be a bit silly otherwise. Just enough time to prepare your ship to jump, or to cap a station, or maybe pick up much needed repairs for the next fight. It could also target the Leviathan's beacon. I know you're all going to ask, but Kaika, what happens if someone's already initiated their jump? Simple. It shuts it down and puts it on cooldown. This adds another level of play. Imagine if you've got a cloaker sat in your opponent's home base. You wait for jumps to initiate and then you shut the jump lane down. Boom! Extra cap time. Obviously it shouldn't work on Gamma and most definitely not on someone's home base because that'd just be daft. Now on to something completely different. With the HE3 non-official tournament format scrim finished, yes, that was a mouthful to say, I'd like to take this opportunity to point out a few things I don't like within the current tournament format setup. Firstly, the ban process. It doesn't make sense to me. With such a small pool of ships and fewer less of them realistically playable in a tournament format, it doesn't make sense to apply a ban system. The ban system within other MOBAs works for a couple of reasons as follows. Firstly, you can only have one of a character. As we know, that doesn't apply here, and so banning a ship doesn't really give you any advantage over the opposition. Next, with such a small pool of ships, banning a certain class can in a lot of cases remove either a direct counter or necessary support for another ship. For example, if you ban a protector, any brawlers in your team are also partly countered. There tend to be a couple of ways a ban system is used within tournaments on the MOBA scene. The main reasons are either A, target ban a specific player's characters in order to put them at a disadvantage from the start, usually when you know your laner is going to have trouble dealing with them. You take out all of their preferred picks in order to make it a more of a level balanced playing field. B, to remove all standard high level meta characters, leaving you free to first pick the last one available. I'll cover more on pick order shortly. And C, to remove specific counters to a character or combination of characters you intend to use. In most cases is a viable, albeit not exactly the same workable alternative. With the current viable ship pool for Fractured Space, there isn't a realistic reason to do this without having a heavy impact on a match. I can understand the idea of adding a ban system in order to spice up the way the ships are picked, and which ships are picked. However, there are a couple of much more realistic alternatives that I'll be covering at a later date. The second thing I wanted to cover was the pick order. The classic 1-2, 2-2, 2-1 pick order doesn't make sense here. This system is designed to go hand in hand with the ban system I've just discussed. It gives advantage to the first pick, which is why they only get to choose one character, and then balances the pick order thereafter in alternating twos. This is simply because each champion can only be picked once in competitive play, or in this instance ship. I'll put it into a scenario for you. If a team has just banned 3 of the 4 major damage dealers in a game, 2 through 4 let's say, and then has first pick, they're going to pick the number 1 as their first choice, leaving the opposing team taking the 5th highest damage dealer, which might very well be a tier lower. This accomplishes a number of things. A. You get the character which does the most damage. Yay for you. B. You screw up your opponent's pick. They most likely haven't been practicing that 5th character pick as much as the first 4. C. You target ban your opposition's picks, giving your lane an advantage. And D. If you're lucky, you've possibly removed a counter as well. In a game where any ship can be picked regardless of another pilot picking it, it actually leaves the first picking team at the disadvantage. Now, leading on from this, after much of my ranting about the tournament format, it's been decided that just before Christmas there'll be a tournament, hosted by yours truly with a surprise sponsor. If you find this intriguing, tune into next week's Talking Fractured in order to find out further details. In the meantime, leave a like if you enjoyed this, a dislike if you didn't enjoy it, and either way, please leave a comment to let me know your thoughts. Until next time, cheers.